Up next, please welcome to the stage Miss Susan Odgers.
Good evening. Thank you so much for coming tonight. I'm wondering if you can imagine yourself at 18. Take a couple seconds to conjure up that image. When I was 18, I was a college freshman living in an apartment complex off campus, and one morning I got up with a pain in my leg, and within 1 hour, I was totally paralyzed from the waist down. Well, my roommate called my parents and 911. My screams for help were actually heard by my neighbors who came running to help me. And it was my neighbors who were there when I came home from the hospital to help me start with my new life. That's the interesting thing about neighbors. They're right there where we live. Some of us might say a good neighbor is someone who's there in an emergency, but basically stays out of our business. We ask a lot of neighbors, think about it, you're gonna go away on spring break and you're gonna ask them to watch your house. When your kids are outside playing, you're gonna ask them to keep an eye out for the kids. And maybe you have dogs and cats that like to roam and you ask them to keep an eye out for that. I believe the power of neighbors can change our community. I believe they can be something more. A friend at work texted me, she was talking with friends around the water cooler, and she told me a story that I want to share with you. Lance lives in Nebraska, and he's very close to his 87-year-old grandmother, Claire. And Grandma Claire lives in Palm Coast, Florida. And Hurricane Matthew hit there last fall, very close. And he couldn't get her on the phone for 2 days. He was terrified. And he called the sheriff, and he called the police, and he said, please, on the answering machine that he got, can you make a welfare call? But they never went. And Lance was very, very worried and didn't know what else to do. So, being a pretty creative guy, he ordered a pepperoni pizza delivered to his grandmother's house. And he asked the delivery guy, can you make sure she's okay? Put her on the phone and let's just make sure she's safe, which the delivery person did. And I don't think any of us thought that Grandma Claire's hero in uniform was going to be who it turned out to be. And I ask you, is that as good as we can do? I believe the power of neighbors can change our community, that they can be something more. My neighbors, like your neighbors, have gone through all of the issues you've heard discussed tonight. Lots of loss. Loss of loved ones, loss of health, loss of income, even loss of dreams. And my family struggled with how we could be better neighbors and make a real difference, really be of help. So we think we're on to the solution. We gathered up all the neighbors, didn't cost much money, didn't take much time, and then we took what we learned and we taught other neighborhoods what they could do. And if you invite me back, I'll tell you what we did. And I'll tell you how successful we were. The interesting thing about neighbors is they're right there, right where we live, right where we are. And I'll help you connect to your longing to make a difference in your own life and other people's. Thank you.